Continuing with my lecture, now I'm going to discuss that is the hormones which are released by anterior pituitary, right? That is known as pars distalis, and the posterior pituitary is known as your pars nervosa, right? Again, look at the terms that this is known as pars nervosa, pars nervosa, right? Posterior pituitary and anterior pituitary is known as distalis, pars distalis. The first hormone which we talk about here, that is TSH. Now see, this neurohormones, it can release two types of hormones. Neurohormones, they can be of two types. One is the releasing factors and one is the inhibitory factors. One will stimulate the pituitary and other they can inhibit the effect. So TSHRF, it means अब हमें confirm हो गया कि ये तो production को increase करने वाला है, because it is a releasing factor. जहाँ पे I आ जाएगा that will inhibit. So TSH की full form thyroid stimulating hormone, releasing factor, right? So it stimulate anterior lobe of pituitary to secrete thyroid stimulate hormone, to stimulate to secrete thyroid gland, right? To stimulate the thyroid gland so that it can it start releasing thyroid stimulating hormone. Next is the ACTH. Again, it is a releasing factor which is released by our anterior pituitary, adrenocorticotropic releasing factor, right? Or releasing hormone. Again, it release in the help in the secretion of adrenocorticotropic hormone. Next is the STH releasing factor or GHRF. It is known as somatotrophin hormone releasing factor और growth hormone releasing factor. आज तक हमने यही पढ़ा है, growth hormone releasing factor, but it is also known as somatotrophin hormone. रिलीजिंग फैक्टर क्यों मैं बार बार लिख रही हूँ, बिकॉज इट विल हेल्प यू टू अंडरस्टैंड कि ये कम नहीं कर रहा सिक्रेशन को, ये बढ़ाएगा, स्टिमुलेट करेगा. सो इट स्टिमुलेट अगेन कौन सी लोब, एंटीरियर लोब, टू रिलीज ग्रोथ हार्मोन रिलीजिंग फैक्टर. नाउ सोमेटोस्टैटिन, इट इज़ अ नाउ रेड कलर से लिखा है मैंने स्पेसिफिकली इसीलिए. सोमेटोस्टैटिन, सोमेटोट्रॉफिन क्या है, ग्रोथ हार्मोन रिलीजिंग वन. सोमेटोस्टैटिन क्या है, इनहिबिटरी हार्मोन. इट स्टिमुलेट, इट एक्ट ऑन एंटीरियर लोब और उसको बोलेगा नॉक 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 नॉक, नाउ यू हैव टू डिक्रीज द सिक्रीशन ऑफ ग्रोथ हार्मोन. व्हेनेवर दिस inhibitory hormone will get activate, it stimulate the anterior lobe and decrease the secretion of growth hormone. Then is the GnTH-RF, gonadotropic hormone releasing factor. It has two components with it, two types of hormones with it. That is the FSH releasing factor. FSH is follicular stimulating hormone. Again, releasing है तो it will stimulate and increase in the production. This arrow, upper arrow means increase in the production of follicle stimulating hormone. And second part of this is LHRF, luteinizing hormone, which is specifically in the females, right? It is observed in the females. Again, it is the luteinizing hormone. Then ICSH, interstitial cell stimulating releasing factor, and it is observed in the males. It is found in the males. So this GnTH or GnRH, it has two types, further two components, that is the FSH as well as LH. Or if it is a male, then it will be ICSH. Then there is another two types, releasing and inhibitory, that is the prolactin. Prolactin, if it is releasing, it will stimulate the release of prolactin. If it is inhibitory, then it will inhibit the secretion of prolactin, but they will act on anterior lobe of pituitary. They all are the anterior lobe of pituitary hormones. And last one, which is hormones, they are secreted by pars intermedia. As you know the now name, intermedia means intermediate, anterior intermediate lobe of middle lobe of pituitary. It secrete a very important hormone, that is the melanocyte. It is also known as melanophore. बहुत सारी बुक्स में आपको melanophore और melanocyte दोनों सेम थिंग है. Melanocyte stimulating hormone, it stimulate the middle lobe of or intermediate lobe of pituitary. और inhibitory क्या करेगा? Inhibitory depressed, it act on the middle lobe of pituitary and decrease the release of our melanin, right? So MSH अगर release होता है तो it act on melanocytes and which are melanin containing cells which regulate pigmentation of our skin, right? So melanin अगर MRF है, अगर MSH है, stimulating hormone है, और इसको आप RF भी बोल सकते हो, then it will increase, it will stimulate. But अगर वो inhibitory है तो it will decrease the amount of melanin. Now, so here as you can see that there are the different hormones, posterior, anterior and intermediate zone. Quickly this ये table मैंने इसलिए दिया है so that you can paste this table on your desk wherever you study, right? You can paste it. Pituitary lobe can be anterior, it can be posterior, it can be intermediate. So main hormones which are, because that is very important for you to understand for your NEET purposes. If you are talking about anterior, then growth hormone, prolactin, thyroid, adrenocorticotropic, FSH and luteinizing, right? So here there is a very interesting mnemonic for this. Girl with को हम साइड पे रख देंगे. गर्ल विद पब्लिक ट्रांसपोर्ट फॉल एट लेक. नाउ जस्ट लिसन टू मी वेरी केयरफुली. G for growth hormone, this is for growth hormone. P is for prolactin, T is for thyroid stimulating hormone, F for FSH, A for ACTH, L for luteinizing hormone. These all are stimulated by, they all stimulate anterior lobe of pituitary. Again, once again, what was the mnemonic? Girl, लिख लेना इसको, please note down in your notebooks. with को हम छोड़ रहे हैं. With public transport fall at lake. Got it? So girl with public transport fall at lake. So these all hormones, they stimulate our anterior pituitary. What are their effect? Growth hormone, it promote the growth body of the tissue. Prolactin, as you know that it promote the milk production from the mammary gland. Thyroid, it stimulate the thyroid hormone to release from the thyroid gland. Adrenocorticotropic hormone, it stimulate the hormone, all they are released by adrenal cortex. Follicle, gamete production in the gonads. Luteinizing hormone, again androgen, basically androgen production in the gonads. Now these posterior has two. I already told you these two are very very important, ADH and oxytocin. These are synthesized by hypothalamus but released by posterior our posterior lobe of pituitary. The ADH का काम क्या है? Water reabsorption. And oxytocin, it stimulates uterine contractions during the childbirth. The last one is only one is in the intermediate, that is the melanocyte stimulating hormone. It stimulates the melanin formation or pigment formation of the skin, that is it act on the melanocytes cells पे ये act करता है. So this is all about our hormones as well as the information about the hypothalamus, right? Next we will meet with the pituitary and more information about the